So, what could a 21st century tech genius possibly have in common with an Iron Age king? Well, as it turns out, a whole lot more than you'd think. See, both of them faced a life or death crisis. Both had a clear, obvious path to survival, and both made a choice that would end up being fatal. Let's start with a name we all know, Steve Jobs. In 2003, he gets diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. But here's the thing, it's a highly treatable form. The doctors tell him, get the surgery now and you've got an almost certain cure. But Jobs, the man who literally bent reality to create the future, just rejects their advice. For 9 critical months, he tries all sorts of alternative treatments. We're talking fruit diets, acupuncture, he even consulted psychics. By the time he finally agrees to the surgery in 2004, it was too late. The cancer had spread, he'd completely missed that golden window for a cure. He passed away in 2011 at just 56 years old. And this is the paradox that's just so hard to wrap your head around. Why? Why would a brilliant mind, a master of logic, turn away from a proven life-saving solution when he needed it most? It's a baffling question. But what's really fascinating is that this exact same kind of self-sabotage, it played out thousands of years earlier in the story of a king. Yeah, to really get this, we have to go way back. We're heading to the ancient Near East, to the story of a king named Ahaziah. His story, you'll see, gives us this startlingly clear blueprint for the very same tragic choice. I mean, look at this. The parallel is just striking. You've got Steve Jobs, the modern genius, facing a fatal illness and turning to these flawed alternatives. And on the other side, King Ahaziah, the ancient ruler who, after a serious injury, goes looking for answers from a false idol. 2 incredibly powerful men, separated by millennia, both staring down their own mortality. Okay, so let's set the stage for our king Ahaziah. He's part of what's known as the House of Omri, a powerful, but let's be honest, a really troubled dynasty in northern Israel. His dad was the infamous King Ahab, who led the whole nation deep into idol worship, and his actions basically brought down a prophecy of doom on their entire family. So when Ahab suddenly dies in battle, Ahaziah inherits a kingdom that's already teetering on the brink of collapse. And the pressure is on from day one. A nation they had conquered, Moab, rebels against his rule, which threatens the kingdom's entire stability. And at the exact same time, Ahaziah has this personal catastrophe. He falls from an upper lattice in his palace and gets severely injured. So he's facing a national crisis from his sickbed. This is it. This is his moment of truth. His kingdom is in chaos. His life is hanging by a thread. What does he do? Does he turn to the God of his own people, the God of Israel? Nope. He looks somewhere else entirely. Now, the name of the deity he consults is, well, it's fascinating. Ahaziah sends his guys to a god called Baal-zebub. The thing is, this name was originally Baal-zebul, which meant something like exalted Lord. But the Israelites, in a brilliant bit of theological mockery, had twisted it to Baal-zebub, which translates to Lord of the Flies. Just think about that for a second. The king of Israel, a nation supposedly founded on the worship of one true God, completely ignores that God. Instead, he sends his messengers to a rival nation to ask a mocked, foreign deity, the Lord of the Flies, whether he's going to live or die. It's just a staggering act of faithlessness. But before his messengers can even get there, they're intercepted by the prophet Elijah. And Elijah hits them with this devastating question, one that just echoes with this sense of divine heartbreak and anger. Is it because there is no God in Israel? The implication is so clear. The one true source of help was right there the whole time, and you chose to look away. And right after that question comes the verdict. Because the king went looking for answers from a false source, he sealed his own fate. The message from God, delivered by Elijah, is absolute. You will not recover from this. Now, you'd think when you get news that dire, you might take a moment, maybe even repent. But Ahaziah's pride is just too big. He refuses to accept a reality he can't control. So he doesn't question his decision. He questions the messenger. His response is to try and silence the truth by sending a captain and 50 soldiers to arrest Elijah. Well, the king's defiance leads to one fiery lesson. The first captain shows up, all arrogant, demanding Elijah come down in the king's name, and poof, fire rains down from heaven, consuming him and all his men. The king, undeterred, sends a second captain, who repeats the exact same arrogant command, and you guessed it, meets the same fiery end. But then the third captain comes, and he's different. He approaches, he kneels, and he humbly pleads for his life. And because of that humility, he and his men are spared.
So when you put these two stories right next to each other, the pattern is just undeniable. You've got Jobs and Ahaziah, both powerful leaders with huge resources. Both had a clear, true path to help right in front of them, one through proven medicine, the other through his own nation's God. But in that crucial moment of crisis, both of them chose to put their trust in a flawed alternative source. And for both of them, that choice was fatal.
So why does any of this matter to us today? Because this ancient story and its modern echo, they're not really about kings and CEOs. They're about a fundamental human dilemma. When we're faced with fear, with uncertainty, with a problem so big we can't solve it ourselves, where do we turn first? What do we really trust to save us? And that's really the question this whole thing leaves us with, isn't it? When the floor falls out from under you, maybe it's a health scare, a career crisis, or a personal failure. What is your Lord of the Flies? What's that flawed alternative you instinctively reach for when the real source of help might be right there, just waiting for you to turn around and ask?